Tai ao manue, everyone. You're here with the Morning Shag New FM 103.8. We have a very special podcast episode for today. Tinā the film, it'll be out in cinemas this Thursday, February the 27th. And we are so lucky. We have director and writer and producer Miki Magasiva, and of course our beautiful Queen Anapela Polataivao. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Now, can I just say how amazing it is to see Tinā everywhere? Yeah. It's everywhere. Now, Mama Bows, I know you don't like seeing, you don't like the spotlight. So how has it been for you having to step into this role and now you're everywhere?
On the back of buses,
Billboards.
on the side of buildings.
Look, I'm not going to lie, it's hard. I watched something this morning about accepting the uncomfortable spaces. Because as you know, in our custom, in our tradition, as being a Samoan, you are insignificant in these spaces. Do you know, you're always the last in line. So everyone's been saying to me, just lean into it and enjoy it. So I've bit by bit been letting go of that stuff that sits tight. She's like, yeah, there's my hand. And just sort of like go with it. This guy.
He's a busy man. He's a busy man, Mr. Miki Magasiva.
Yeah, you guys just finished coming back from traveling through the South Pacific, promoting Tinā. How's the response been as you've been traveling out there?
Oh, it's been pretty overwhelming. Yeah, we've had lots of love everywhere we've been. So, like Bells was saying, it's uncomfortable because we come from a culture that where we're trained to be humble and not stick out too much. But then when you're put in this position, you really want to honor all of the love that you've been receiving by coming out and meeting everybody and receiving that love and hopefully reciprocating that love too. So we've been to a few places now, Oasis, and everywhere we've gone, the people have been so cool and amazing.
It's like all over our algorithms on social media. It's everywhere. So it's amazing. And for you, Miki, I want to go back to the genesis of creating Tinā, the script, and why you decided to tell this particular story.
I've said a few times now that I wanted to pay tribute to our mums, but I really did. I just felt like that would always make for a strong character because we all know our mums and they embody all of the things that I find interesting in characters. They're super strong. I haven't seen many of our Pacific Island characters where we delve a little bit deeper into the trials, challenges that all human beings face, but just wanting to highlight that as well and say, we're funny and we're colorful, but we also have trauma as well and emotions as well. And to have our mothers represent that backstory just felt like a good character to embody that, as well as I just have always found our mothers funny in the way that they, guide us and how we as kids react to them in the background. I've just always found really funny.
What was really cool for me, like being on set, was seeing your mum there. Your mum and your dad were present on set. Yeah. Was there at any point where did your mum give you notes about the script, about what was going on?
I think she would have in the old days. She definitely would have in the old days. She likes to just sit there and laugh at all of it because she finds it hilarious, that we're all doing this job now and are quite serious about it. So no notes, but I like the fact that she sits there, laughs, and then will also tell off my dad at the same time, when he's trying to come out. So they've been super supportive the whole time. I've wanted to have them there. They're getting a little bit older now and getting on now, but just having them there present and seeing what we've been able to accomplish and taking them into those spaces has been so cool.
Man, I just want to give you guys flowers, firstly, for the writing stuff, the stages of it, man. The pacing, far out, so good throughout the entire movie. And then adding comedy into the space as well. I just want to talk about the very first, because both of you worked together on the very first scripts. I just wanted to talk about, like, the big differences of, like, the very first draft to what ended up on screen as well. Can you take us through those stages, please?
Yeah. Can you remember the first draft?
Yeah, how was it? Was it good?
Yeah.
No, I think we worked, but it was during COVID, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of it was done. We weren't in spaces physically together, so it was done online. I just remember we did a read. We got everyone in online, and what came through in the end was actually quite different. It was a lot more sort of condensed.
Yeah.
So yeah, there were different stages, definitely.
Yeah, there was. So there's been lots of iterations of the drafts.
Yeah.
She was a cleaner at one stage where we didn't know her backstory, that we just opened on this character who cleaned an office block. And she kept going back to that office block and cleaning there every single day, and she didn't want to leave. And then she was forced to go into the school, but she didn't want to leave her office block, right? So there was a lot more backstory about, a lot more of the story was set in her world rather than the school world. And every time I set that iteration in, people wanted me to drive it more to the school and see more students. And so that backstory started dwindling down a bit more, but I was desperate to keep in as many Samoan characters as I could possibly get in. That's where the Seal character and the Rona character come into play. Those were my ways of trying to keep a bit more of our community into it.
Yeah.
There was all these scenes about her, them having fundraisers, me taking them to Aranui and making suppers, and then going out and selling it, and the kids going online and, selling all of these suppers so they could come up. So there was lots more of that. Just the thing happens where if you want to get it funded and pushed through, you just have to go with what people are after. So it became more about going to the school and driving it more towards the students rather than that world.
Would have been cool.
Now for you, Bows. Now, for those of you who don't know, Bows is our acting mum. In this industry, she has taught all of us. Probably most specific people you see on screen, she is why we have jobs. She is why we're able, to do the work that we do. And one of the biggest things that I've learned from you is you're always about honor the work, honor the script, honor the story. We think we're coming in for a ka'a. She makes us work.
Yes.
Tell us about some of the your process in getting and are ready for the character of Marita.
So Miki and I went through quite a bit, didn't we? Sort of like leading up to the shoot, we would have quite a few coffee dates and just sort of like look at stuff, what works, what doesn't, what sings, what doesn't, sort of that. And sort of like interrogate a little bit more. So the end product with what, as you know, Gabs, what you get, right? You got to fill in the missing blanks because what the writer's giving you is all the given circumstances. These are facts. So all the missing bits for me walking away was not very much actually. Just sort of like just having a look at my relationship with my daughter. I have a daughter, the kaukara sort of one. And so it was just sort of relating all those things, and if there was a bit of pain, I know what that feels like, and I know what pain feels like. I know what loss feels like. So in different scenes or circumstances, it depends. Where am I pitching the pain? Is it on a 3 or is it a 9 or is it a 10? So you sort of, it's a dance.
Yeah.
As you know this when you're working in scenes, it's like too much. Take the heat out. So in terms of an actor's process, obviously the script is your map. That's your blueprint. That's what you go with. Whatever that Miki hasn't given me in terms of facts, I will have to make that up. So then I can just anchor the world. Don't make me go through my. Everyone's like, oh gosh, here she goes again in her. She just always going through an acting process.
Play the scenes, just play the scenes.
Exactly. It's like, oh my gosh, who does she think she is? But anyway, you know me. I can talk to the cows come home about analysing things, but then ultimately, at the end of it, throw it away, go in, be truthful, and have fun.
Yeah.
And which is fantastic. The entire team from top to bottom, you can feel that on set. Very village styles, very family orientated. You were allowed to be whatever's, you know. When the work is the work, when Miki calls action, we're all in there. But it was just such a beautiful, relaxed, family-oriented space to be in. And like I say, the producers were wonderful. Everything that's in there was just...
I think the hardest thing was try not to laugh in the
Oh,
serious...
dear goodness.
in the serious scenes.
Yes.
Sunga, I know exactly what scene you're talking about.
Yes.
And I'm talking about you, Beulah Kwale. One of the most renowned trained actors in this country, in this industry.
Yes.
That was hard.
That was hard. Well, always because, you know, we just kept seeing that damn Adam's apple go.
Yeah.
It's like he's laughing, he's trying.
I'll set that, right. So we had a scene, and everyone will see it. It's in the film, and Beulah's unconscious on the bed, and he's not supposed to do anything other than lie in the bed. And it's a super emotional scene between these two. But I had a line in the original script that we've taken out now that Beulah just could not get. He couldn't get around it. And he was just cracking up and said, Mr. Professional guy.
Yeah, Hollywood.
Mr. Hollywood.
Yeah.
And Gab's there trying to be all serious and stuff, trying to be
my one
emotional
scene.
for the one scene. Just like this, and then he'll akka and Gabs would be like, oh, go guys. Like, and every single time he would lie there, and then the first one would be,
You're right.
such a
You're right.
he could not. And it was,
Yeah, it was terrible.
And he corpsed
And
hard.
wonderful at the same
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made it hard.
Anapela, do you know
Yes.
the acting process? You know, we're talking about that at the moment. Was it hard to dive deep in terms of Marietta's grief and in terms of, you know, her loss in it? Did you have to go somewhere like for yourself in order to tap into that kind of that side of the character?
Breathing helps.
Yeah.
Because it just allows everything to go through the body.
Yeah.
And relaxation helps. And because I've most of my film life, it's always been supporting roles.
Yeah.
This is the very first time to carry something from the beginning to the end. And what I've learned is just be still, breathe it, and just be honest, you know, the moment. So no, I don't necessarily think of anything.
Yeah.
I'm just in there sort of like just soaking
Feeling it,
in the moment and understanding what that means. And then some magic happens.
Yeah.
It happens to you. But also because I'm at an age too, you know, I've had a bit of life, you know, so that sort of stuff helps, some life experience.
Yeah, that's
so sometimes for actors, it's not so much about the training, but go and live,
Yeah.
you know, because ultimately you're telling human story. I mean, that's what we're doing. We're telling human stories.
Can we, Miki, can we talk about working with the students and teaching them, you know, the Samoan songs and our ways? How was that?
Oh, it was pretty cool. It was pretty thrilling. I've worked with non-actors for a long time. So I feel like I've got a handle on how to nurture new people into the acting world. But I didn't have to do it with the choir students. They're all so smart, they're all so intelligent, and they know music well. Like all these kids come from the Big Sing anyway. They've done years and years in the Big Sing, and if anybody knows about the Big Sing, they will sing Samoan songs, Maori songs, Tongan songs across the board already, so they're really familiar with the work. Probably what the biggest challenge for them, you know, secondary to learning the actual words was the actions, you know, and getting them to learn the actions. And so seeing them go through that process, and thank you to Sefa Anari, our choreographer, who did that and nurtured them through the actions. That was pretty funny to watch them go through it. And some of them picked it up, like they could have been Samoan.
Yeah,
you know, they
hard
picked
out.
it up real fast. They're really good.
Yeah.
And everybody else who took a little bit longer still embraced it and still went with it. Because I guess, you know, I mean, being story guy, tying it back into that village approach, when you have other people around you, it makes it easier. You know, everyone's doing it. Everyone's honouring it. Everyone's respecting it. And we'd often have talks about, you know, at the end of it, when they had put their hearts and souls into it, and we'd just like be blown away, me and Mars, would be blown away by how much commitment, dedication that they showed to it and how much fun they had with it too. Every single step of the way, we just fell more and more in love with them because of how hard they were going. So, yeah, didn't have to teach them very much. They were just really into it from the start. I love that about it. And you could see it on screen. They're having fun. They're into it. None of them are actors, but they sit in the background and prop up all the scenes really well. You feel like you're there with them. None of them are actors outside of our 4 core key kids. So, yeah, fun.
I remember on set one, and it was in a break, and they were all practicing their besses. And we, like all of the rest of us, were just like, we're having coffee, we're talking, we're laughing, and these kids are sitting there like just practicing their besses, and I was like blown away, like how dedicated they were to the craft. And I remember asking you, Bells, on set, like, how was it working with the little Palangi kids? You're like, easy.
Easier than you guys.
Easier than us.
I want to teach them. So I don't get, Mama, we're just going to go for a vape. Hey.
10 minutes, where's everybody? Where's everyone?
I know, Pip, Mark, go grab them. They're vaping, and I need a vape too. It's like, hey. Gosh.
Miki, talking about like the cultural elements of the story, and how was it? How important was it for you to add those to the story? Because what I loved about the whole film was that it was put in like subtly. It wasn't like forced, like, oh man, this is some own culture on like a film, and that it just really felt natural watching like all these cultural elements. It made me feel really proud about it. But for you, adding those elements to the story, like, was it an important part for you as a writer?
Yeah, it's a Samoan story, and I always wanted to put those elements in there somehow, but I don't know whether it was just like it came together perfectly because it's about choir. It's got a choir in it. I always knew the end. Like we had the end or there. It was just about pushing it towards the end, and if it's about a village, if it's about a group, if it's about anything like that, our culture just lends itself to that as well. So it was just about finding out which scenes I could put some of that stuff into. And that took a little bit of figuring out, like, the lying on the floor thing, and working with breathing and space and all of those sorts of things.
Adding that
the lava lavas, adding all of that stuff into it. Either came easy through comedy or a little bit harder into trying to figure out what the scene would be about and what the actions could be about that would allow me to infuse it with some of those cultural elements. But like I said, it's like we are just a village ideology culture. So a lot of that was really natural. But also, I must say, once they did fall in place, it felt real good.
It
felt real good once like some of those scenes came together and the rhythm of it just started to really work, and then you'd play it out as me and my editor would sit there and just go, whoa, that's awesome, and be really stoked with it. So I hope people see that as well, because as filmmakers, every step of the way, as those scenes were being put together, we were just like, oh, that's awesome. We weren't like, oh, yes, that's great. And let's try it. We were like generally off our seats going, that's mean.
Yeah.
I think Regan's just a bit upset because there was no new way.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You got to take the shim about that.
Hey, Shim.
Yes.
Hey, sort it out.
Some of that comes from you, actually.
Oh, here we go.
We'll take it.
Now, I know something that's really important in the film that comes at the end of the film, and I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but you've dedicated this film to your late brother, Pua. And I don't want to make this about me, but I think this film, and it already has, it's bringing a lot of healing to a lot of our people, to a lot of people who are going to watch it. And, the work and the legacy that Pua has left behind for myself, he's the reason I got into acting. I went to Pipa because I went and watched a show about him. Like, how was that process for you and your family with Tinā?
Yeah, we haven't really talked about it much, but I can see, how proud they are when they see those words up there, And as a family, we try not to Samoan families, you don't talk about that sort of stuff. I just try to honor it in the work, and I just put the words up there. But he has been helping drive this whole thing the whole time. We've spoken a lot about, the spiritual nature of this production and lots of things going on that just we couldn't explain, and a lot of it, I feel like, had to do with that. But as a family, we haven't talked about it. But I didn't need to, because the first moment my niece saw it, who Sophie is named after, I could see it in her face when she came to hug me. The first time Rob saw it, I could see it in his face when he came to hug me. And I could see it in Dad's face as well. And then all the people that knew him have come to me since, mentioning that one thing. And so that healing process has, I think, come through how I've seen the reaction to it and the reaction to the work. And so it's just really nice to have people recognize that and to see that, and then and just be affected by it and moved by it. I don't think they're not connected. Those things are all connected, I think. So, he was, there the whole way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's us for today, and we just want to honor you and the work that you have both done, and thank you for gifting this to our people, gifting this for us to be a part of. Whether we're in the cinema watching it, please do not film it. Sorry, I just got to put it out. Please do not film it when you're in the cinema. But I just think it's such a gift, One, for me, to have been a part of it, but to share it with the world in the cinema, this is what, when I first learned about what our art does, our art heals. And this is exactly what this film is doing and will continue to do, through generations. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And go out and make sure you watch it. February 27th, this Thursday, out in cinemas everywhere.
Thank you.
Mahalo lava.
Mahalo lava.
Thank you.
Thank you.